Hey guys, it's October 21st, 2018. It's a clear day here in Seattle. Let's start with the raspberry. I can kind of see that the growth is slowing down and the leaf has started kind of changing color too. So it's gonna start dying back. Tomato, still lots of germinated seeds at the bottom, and you can see the leaves are infected by the mildew still. And the rhubarb, I don't see any new leaf coming up, so it's probably gonna die back soon as well. The saffron, still sprouting nicely. Calla lily, you can see it's dying back as well. And when I was cleaning up a few days ago, I finally found the seed pod. You can see the little fruit has expanded quite a lot. The potato, I clean up quite a bit, cut away the dead stems, and you can see lots of potatoes poking out from the surface of the soil, like these guys. We're gonna have a really nice harvest this year for potatoes. Hydrangea, you can see some buds forming on the branches I cut off over there as well. Those are gonna overwinter. These guys are still here. The strawberry, as you can see, I separated these two pots, and you can see this pot, the leaf has started changing yellow too. This pot is mostly turning red, and you can see the runners are super long and they're turning kind of red as well. Blueberry, pretty much the same. It's definitely going dormant now. Saffron, you can see the leaf has gotten taller. The update will be on a separate video. And I also cleaned up this pot. You can see the California poppy, and that's a crimson clover, I believe. And the dahlia, you can see it's dying back, but it's also still flowering. The blueberry, you can see the leaves has turned into this beautiful red color, and the leaves are falling too. So yeah, it's really nice red though. I really like it. And the lily of the valley, you can see it's definitely dying back. The mulberry is also dying back now. You can see the leaves are falling and turning yellow. The asparagus is getting there too. You can see the stem has a bit of a color of yellow to it. Rosemary, I clean up the clover pot. Succulents, and you can see this succulent is also dying back too. And this ivy is still growing. Peony is definitely going dormant now as well. Leaves are red now. Hydrangea, you can see there's a bud over there. Those are for sure overwintering. Rosemary, looking good. And lavender, you can see I cleaned it up quite a bit. Venus flytrap looks pretty much the same. I really need to plant these bulbs. They're kind of drying out, so yeah. And the bulbs and still in the soil and pot, I'm gonna water them pretty soon. So they're gonna start growing. And the grapes, you can see, are dying back too. As for the indoor garden, I did a major improvement. Look at that. That's a plant growth light. I think it's 50 watts on the top, and these two are a total of 27 watts. So this is what it looks like when I turn it on. You can see it's super bright, and I rearranged some of the hanging pot so that the light can go through all the layers. And I also hang the 2 Stockholm fern I mounted on this little table thingy. So let's start over here. This guy, you can see it's still growing quite rapidly. Lots of new vines. And this Phalaenopsis orchid, you can see this root has really established onto the wood. It's attached really well. And the new leaf is getting bigger now. Spider plant, still flowering, as you can see right here, and there's a lot of seed pods all along the vines. Right here you can see a few more seed pods and lots of baby plants. The prayer plant, you can see this new growth coming up. That's nicely pigmented. Oh, and I found out some part of the plant is like dying back. It's because these are the older vines. It's been like 2 years now. So they flowered and they're gonna fade. So it's a life cycle. They're gonna send out more new growth. Hoya plant, you can see this vine is still growing longer, and the leaf isn't really getting any bigger. It's still catching up, I think. The ficus tree, I think it's doing well. The new growth is not falling off. And the pineapple, you can see it's still growing, very slowly though. And let's look at the Stockholm fern. Not too much change. This guy, still some new leaves coming up, but I really want some shield fronds to develop. Right here we have another Stockholm fern, spider plant, turn this around, snake plant and another snake plant variety, I believe. Succulents, this orchid, all looking pretty good. This ivy is looking really nice. You can see there's a lot of new growth. And then the wandering Jew, it's looking good too. And on the first level here we have this mini Oncidium, lots of flowers, which I'll update you on another video. And this guy, the Venus slipper orchid, you can see I kind of changed it. And so basically what I did was, you can see that stem over there. It's kind of separating that smaller plant and this bigger plant. And this bigger plant has a new growth too, right there. So it's kind of growing 2 direction. First I kind of wanted to cut that stem to separate them, but I think there's not really any root system on the bigger plant, so it might not survive. So I ended up tying a wire through the pot onto the plant. So it looks like this. It goes through the soil and goes around it and then go back up to the plant. So it's kind of a circle. And I can just tighten it up from the bottom to kind of anchor it onto the soil, just like that. And then I'm gonna cover it with the medium. Yeah, so that's what I did for that. And then this guy, you can see the flower is still here. And then the mini snowflake orchid, you can see the new growth is coming up nicely. I really want to see some flower from this guy though. And the last thing I have for you is the tiger lily. You can see it's actually doing really well under the growth light.